Hey, so what's going on, everyone? So, a lot of you already may or may not have seen my video where I give a shout out to a lot of people that helped make my YouTube channel what it currently is. But the whole reason that I even started this channel in the first place is to promote my writing. I am a writer first and foremost, and this year saw a lot of crazy ups and downs. This year saw multiple releases from me. So I want to give everyone thank yous that had a hand in my writing getting out there to the world. So, first and foremost, I've got to give shout outs to Dean and Ben at Black Hair Press, as well as Sammy Sands. I'd already been accepted into multiple anthologies from both Black Hair Press and from Sammy that I knew were coming in 2020. Um, my acceptances for Love, Hate, and Bad Romance from Black Hair Press happened in 2019, even though the books were 2020 releases. And with Sammy, I'd already gotten accepted to Malediction and One of Us in 2019, even though both books were 2020 releases. So there's 5 books right off the bat in 2019 that I knew were coming in 2020. And I recently did some reading videos on my second channel that feature stuff from Love and Hate. In the case with Sammy, I had sent her 2 different versions of what I thought was a very similar short story. And she advised me and said, hey, both of these are going in, and explained the reasons why. Also with One of Us, that is one of my mini stories from the Windgreen saga that I'm currently working on. So that's the third. Yeah, that's the third Windgreen story that everyone's gotten. 2021, you should be seeing possibly 2 more. I don't know how many more are coming out, but I do know you're getting 2 in 2021. But major shout out to both Black Hair Press and Sammy Sands, because both of them I got featured in stuff for 2020 before 2020 even happened. So y'all were guaranteed material from me regardless of how my own books were coming just from that. Another person that's definitely had a hand in both my anthology appearances as well as my own books is N.M. Brown of Nocturnal Silence. So I was featured in Scary Snippets Christmas in 2019. I was featured in Scary Snippets Valentine's that came out this year. Scary Snippets Easter, which I was also one of the people that came up with the idea for the Easter one. And Fatal Fairies, a Drabbles collection. So not only was I featured in those, but my story from Scary Snippets Halloween ended up in my own stuff. So I checked with Natalie. I wanted to make sure. I said, hey, I'm putting together a flash fiction collection. Can I include It Was Only Trick or Treating? To which she was very quick to respond with yes. So I told her about Tales from the Forbidden Forest. I said, hey, I've also got a novella I'm working on. Long story short, it's actually a fusion of some of my short stories put together as one story. You okay with me also doing that? And to which, once again, she said, absolutely. So not only did Natalie have my work featured in 3 anthologies this year, she gave me the okay to feature short story in a short story collection and make it part of Tales from the Forbidden Forest. On top of all that, she's been one of the biggest supporters for this channel. One of the unboxing videos that I've already recorded that may already be out by this point, I'm not sure, still working on my upload schedule, was a book that she had requested that I feature. And hopefully for Christmas 2021, you'll be getting a Christmas video of me reading some Christmas stuff that does feature my Scary Snippets Christmas stuff. The plan was originally for 2020, but right now, didn't exactly have the time to do everything I wanted. I kind of wanted to make it a part skit, part reading video instead of just a reading video, and time constraints kind of prevented that from happening. So sorry about that. Hopefully I can do what I've got planned for 2021. But definitely owe her a huge thank you for not only including me in 5 Nocturnal Silence anthologies, but also having a hand in putting one of my books together. Because not only would she give me the okay for Tales from the Forbidden Forest, Tales from the Forbidden Forest is one of my most well-received books. Which also reminds me I need to go back to Sammy on that one, because I also asked the same thing with Sammy. I said, hey, I'm putting together something. I want to include Anthology Rediscovered from Evil Lurks. All right, cool. Let me know when the book's out. So I featured that one. And I also wanted to double check with Malediction, because at the time, Malediction had only been out a few months when Demonic Bites came out. And even though the exclusivity deal was already done, Sammy does make the anthologies free from time to time, and I didn't want to step on any toes. So I gave her the heads up. I'm like, hey, I'm putting together Tales from the Forbidden Forest is also going to be a short story collection. Would it be alright to include Malediction stories, because I feel like witches could fit in the same category with demons in this case, and I think it would make for a decent collection. So she also said okay. So Sammy, Natalie, whenever y'all are watching this, thank you both for making Demonic Bites and Tales from the Forbidden Forest what they are, because both of you had a huge hand in those 2 releases being what they are. So thank you very much for that. Since I'm talking about Tales from the Forbidden Forest again, also got to give a shout out to Julianne Gross. So when I was formatting Tales from the Forbidden Forest, when it goes to my novellas, Tales from the Forbidden Forest is actually my smallest one. So that's why it's part novella, part short story collection for those that own the print book. Because I needed something to put a little bit of size to the book. And I had 2 stories that I wanted to release that I felt fit what was going on with Tales from the Forbidden Forest. One of them was already edited, the other one wasn't. And I found out about Julianne through Fiverr. Said, here's my story. And not only did she edit it, she gave me her personal opinion on the story. She told me which parts she liked, which parts she thinks I need to work on. Very, very thorough. And when I actually started to contact her through social media instead of Fiverr to make sure she got a copy of the book, and just wanted to personally say thank you for her contributions. Super friendly individual. Very, very fortunate to be able to work with her. Julianne, if you're watching this, just want to say thank you for your contributions to Tales from the Forbidden Forest. And hopefully your schedule opens up, because I would definitely like to work with you again. So throughout 2020, I released a series of standalone short stories and novelettes under the name Chaos Fusion. So the name Chaos Fusion came about because all these stories were stuff that had either previously been released, and when the exclusivity deal expired, some of the publishers pulled the books. And in 2 cases, I submitted some short stories and got rejected. So here I am sitting on some novelettes and some short stories that have either not been released or have went out of print. So I started with releasing Lucifer's Lost Love, which to my surprise peaked at number 2 in new releases and cracked the top 100 in 2 different categories. That was my first release of just my books to ever do that. So that meant a lot. But after Lucifer's Lost Love came out, I did my standalone short story Playing Games and my second novelette, Cindy's Choice, which is my first number 1. And both of those, I owe a huge thank you to Terry Wilson. When I found out that Playing Games was going to be pulled from the anthology I'd featured it in, I thought I'd give it some more fine-tuning before releasing it as a standalone release for Valentine's Day. So I asked on my personal Facebook page, hey, can someone help me? I need a cover and I need an editor for 2 different projects. I was like, the first one is something I want to have out before Valentine's Day. It's a 5K short story. I just want to be able to have something to have out in time for Valentine's Day because it's a romance short story. And Terry was very quick to respond. She told me she could absolutely get Playing Games done in that short of a time frame. I basically gave her 2 weeks and she had it done in 4 days. The cover and the editing. So to anyone out there that's an author that needs an editor or a cover designer, I asked Terry if she could get it done in 2 weeks and she had it done in 4 days. So if you need someone, definitely contact her. I will have some information down below. And even the same with Cindy's Choice. Like that one I didn't need right away because I already knew that was going to be a second quarter 2020 release. But I want to say probably a week after she gave me the edits for Playing Games and the cover. Well, she already had the cover for Cindy's Choice done. That was actually the first thing she had done out of the stuff that I'd hired her for. She sent me that. A day later was when I got the cover for Playing Games. I got the edits for Playing Games the very next day after I got the cover for Playing Games. And then probably a few days after that's when I got the edits for Cindy's Choice. And again, huge shout out to Terry, not just for that, but also Cindy's Choice being my first number 1. It's been pretty well received, at least from what I've seen. So Terry, thank you, because you were a part of my first number 1 I've ever gotten. I'm hoping it's not the only one, but at the time being, it is my first number 1. So for that, I owe you a huge thank you. So with Chaos Fusion, after Playing Games came out, I initially had plans to release another novelette. However, some issues happened that prevented it from getting released. So I put out another standalone short story. Partially because I wanted to have something else out in time frame that I had planned for my third novelette, but also Playing Games did pretty well. It was pretty well received. And I have several standalone short stories just kind of sitting on my computer at the moment because they're either out of print, they haven't been accepted for an anthology, whatever the reason may be. So when time came to release something, the biggest one that ended up getting requested was Sector Omicron. So shout out to my editor on this one. The editor for this one actually didn't want to be credited, so I will have a website link down below for anyone that would like to hire him for editing. I would like to point out that Sector Omicron peaked at number 2 in new releases in sci-fi. It peaked at number 40 in bestsellers, and it currently has a 5-star rating on Amazon. So the man clearly did a good job editing the story. For anyone who would like to hire him as an editor, I recommend him. So now we are at the final piece of Chaos Fusion. So After realizing that the planned third novelette was not going to be released, I decided to say, you know what? Let's go on ahead and get this last one out. It's one of my lengthier stories. It's already been edited. I've got a cover for it already. Let's go on ahead and do this. So I have a couple of people shout out on this one. So even though it got rejected from what I had initially written it for, I got to give a huge shout out to Adam and Sam at Zombie Pirate Publishing. In 2019, they did a writing week challenge where you have to write a novelette in a week. So my third novelette in the Chaos Fusion series, Regroup from the Remains, was written in a week. I can also tell you from all the editors that have worked on all of my projects that are related to Chaos Fusion, even the stuff that's in Tales from the Forbidden Forest, this is the one that actually had the least amount of red marks on my screen. So shout out to Adam and Sam for not only challenging me to write something within a week, but also having the opportunity to see if I can do it. So for that, that is the biggest reason why I included them in the dedication page on Regroup from the Remains. If you've got the print book, you may have also noticed that they are on the dedication page for Chaos Fusion. That story was written because they issued a challenge and I went for it. So yeah, it may have not gotten accepted to the anthology they were working on, but here we are a year later talking about it. So clearly it was good enough for me to want to release it. In this case, I also need to give a shout out to Katie Yarsfeld. She is the one who did the editing, and she also supplied the cover. And initially, when I was seeking out editors for Playing Games and Cindy's Choice, she commented a day late because within minutes of me making the post asking for editors and illustrators, Terry had already responded. So I already had someone for the projects I needed. So Katie asked me if there was some other stuff I was working on. I said, yeah, I've got a sci-fi dystopian novelette I'm going to release. It needs a cover. Going to need an editor at some point. So here it is if you want to do a cover for it. So you need an editor for it as well, right? It's like, yeah. All right, I can do that. And like Terry, Katie was very, very quick with responding. I sent her everything on a Thursday, I believe, and I want to say the following Tuesday she had the original cover and the edits done. Now, since then, the cover has changed. So the cover that you're seeing when you look at Regroup from the Remains isn't the same one that originally came out, but it's very, very similar. So shout out to Katie for that, as well as also including me in the Carpathia Anthology Reflections. As you may have remembered, I did an unboxing video for that with Tales from the Forbidden Forest where I mispronounced the publisher's name. Yeah, that happened. But Katie, thank you for your contributions to Regroup from the Remains. Thank you for including me in some of the anthologies. And this time around, I remembered how to pronounce the name. Another shout out I got to give is to Steve Carr. He is the one in charge of Sweetie Cat Press. I was featured in the first 2 anthologies that came out from Sweetie Cat Press, as well as a YouTube trailer that him and a friend of his put together for the Sweetie Cat Press YouTube channel. So the first one was Who's Who of Emerging Writers, where I have a biography and a selected bibliography of various works. And then the Book of Books, which features the covers to Playing Games and Cindy's Choice. And there's also an unboxing video for the Book of Books. While I'm not featured in it, there is also an unboxing video on the channel for the next book that came out, I, the Writer, and the review video for that should be coming up very soon. And Steve, if you're watching this, apologies for not getting that review done faster. I got asked to do a lot of reviews, and I've just been doing them in order. So the review is coming, though, I promise. One of the anthologies that I have appeared in with Steve has been through Clarendon Publishings, which is done by Grant Hudson. The first anthology I was featured in this year in 2020, was Portal, which was a children's short story collection. Yes, the guy who writes horror and really dark poetry was featured in a children's book. But that was the third anthology I believe I've been featured in. So Grant, if you're watching this, thank you for including me in that, because you featured me in a book that's a genre that I don't normally do. So the fact that I'm even in a children's book is not just a shocker for me, but some of you should have seen the looks on faces when I told some of my friends, my coworkers in my day job, family members, hey, I'm in a children's book. The look of confusion and shock upon everyone's faces was well worth it. So I wonder what they're going to say when they realize that I am also working on a children's book for 2021 or possibly 2022. Yeah. Sorry, y'all. I'm just trying to look through everything and see who all I need to include. I didn't want to forget anyone because I'm pretty sure in my first thank you video, I think I may have left some names out. But I'm going to give a shout out to Angela Kay. You may have seen one of my other unboxing videos for the anthology Painted Memoirs. I believe that was my 5th or 6th appearance in an anthology from her company, Stained Glass Publishings. So that one was one that I knew I wanted to be in when she first announced it. Unfortunately, I was one of very, very few that was interested right away. So it took a while for the book to come out. And then the book didn't have the best of sales, so it ended up getting re-released. But either way, Angel is definitely someone who has been very, very proactive in helping me out with improving some of my stuff, as well as featuring my work in several books that she's worked on. There's also some that she wanted me to be a part of that I either said no to or had to drop out at the last minute. Angela, I do apologize for that. But back to the whole point of this video, thank you for including me in the anthologies that I am a part of. Another person that I definitely owe some appreciation and thank you to is Roma Gray of Night Sky Book Services. So my first time working with her was actually for the anthology Mystery Monster 13 from JEA Press. She was one of the editors for them for a while. She started up her own thing with Night Sky. I was featured in the book Scratches. So when Scratches came out, I had forgotten that I had submitted my story. So when I found out that I was in a book that I completely forgot about, definitely a huge shocker on my end. This is one of a couple of books from Night Sky that I am going to be in. There's a few more coming out that I will be doing more discussion with once those books are released. But Roma, if you're watching this, thank you for including me in multiple anthologies across multiple companies. I think you're the only person I can say that with. And yeah, from what I'm seeing, that is pretty much everyone that I owed for 2020. I definitely scaled back a lot this year as far as anthology appearances go, because 2019, even though I'm very thankful for the books I'm in, the books I got accepted for, even the books I got rejected from, a lot of that stuff still ended up getting released in one shape or another. Some of them might have gotten re-released or rewritten before that, but a lot of my 2019 stuff is still available to some extent somewhere. But the downside to doing all the anthologies I did in 2019 was that I only released one book when I was wanting to release 3. And because of that, I wanted to focus more on my own work because a lot of you have been asking for stuff that's just me, not me and however many other authors are in the book. So I definitely scaled back this year. You might not realize it because even with the stuff I'm in, that's still a total of, I want to say, 39 projects I was a part of in 2020. Yeah, that's quite a bit. But because I was able to scale back, y'all got Tales from the Forbidden Forest, Chaos Fusion, you got the first half of Omni. I promise y'all, Bedbugs is coming, all right? But even with scaling back, still able to get quite a bit out. And even with 2021, I already know of, I want to say 8 or 9 anthologies right off the bat that are coming out in 2021 that I'm featured in. So even with that, there's still more stuff. And I can already assure you that the stuff that I'm releasing in 2021 is either done or close to it. So now I don't have to worry about, oh, I should have something else out while waiting for this. I don't have to worry about that this time. I can just release it and hopefully everyone will enjoy it like everyone has enjoyed some of the stuff I've released this in 2020. So to everyone that had a hand in putting together my releases as well as sending me acceptance letters for the material that got released, I definitely owe all of you a thank you because a lot of you helped make 2020 a successful year for me. A couple of the books I was in were decent sellers on Amazon. A couple of them got the nice little orange #1 ribbon for either being a new release or a bestseller. As far as my own stuff goes, it's the first year I got a #1. It's the first year I got a bestseller on my own. Not to mention, Demonic Bites peaked at #4 in new releases for suspense. #1 was John Grisham and #2 was Dean Koontz. So I got to be #4 with those two being numbers 1 and 2. That's impressive. And with Cindy's Choice, I got a #1. And that's still a surreal moment for me. And it's something I've definitely been trying to have happen again. But I think that does it for this one. I do apologize if I forgot anyone. I did try to, well, as you can tell, I've already brought it up, but I did have everyone's names written on here to show my thank yous. I will include links in the description below for some of the publishers and some of the other people that I've worked with, so you can check out some of the stuff they've done. And as always, in the description below, I'm going to have my social media links. I am on Facebook, I'm on Twitter, I'm on Instagram. I have a second channel where I read my poetry. I've got some more stuff coming up. I had to take a break for a little bit just to focus on some of the other projects I'm working on that I'm hoping to announce very, very soon. But more stuff will be going on the second channel very soon, so please stop asking. I assure you, I've got stuff already recorded and ready to go. But that does it for this one. Thank you for watching, and I will catch you on the next one.